Give us a few seconds. Oh, it's, yep. You ready? You ready? Yep. Okay. The Wahiawa Whitmore Village Neighborhood Board number 26 will begin with our first responder monthly reports. Oh, fire department, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Good. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Captain Ben Casamaro from the Wahiawa Fire Station. Just gonna go ahead and read the February 2025 statistics for Wahiawa. For fires, we had 3 brush fires, 8 nuisance fires, 1 cooking fire, and 4 activated alarms with no fire. Emergencies, we had 72 medicals, 1 motor vehicle collision involving a pedestrian, 7 motor vehicle collisions, and 2 hazardous materials incidents. Our fire safety tip for March 2025 involves smoke alarms. Smoke alarms are crucial for saving lives and play a key role in home fire escape plan. When installed properly and maintained correctly, they provide early alerts, giving occupants a chance to evacuate quickly. Install smoke alarms in every bedroom, outside each separate sleeping area, like the hallway, and on each level of the home. Test smoke alarms at least once a month by pushing the test button, and replace smoke alarms when they are 10 years old or stop responding when tested. That is it. Are there any questions for the fire department?
Questions from the board for H? Go ahead, June.
I'm just curious about this. You probably know that they blocked off the middle school now to access. Do you guys have access after hours?
We still have access, but that's one thing we're trying to meet with them to try and figure out better access for us after
Okay.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, because after hours, I believe they do lock it.
Yeah, they lock it. Yeah.
So, okay.
Hey, any other, oh, Michelle?
I'm sorry. I know you've answered this before, but what are nuisance fires?
So they're kind of bracketed in a bunch. There's rubbish fires outside of a structure, and there's also vehicle fires. Those are all encompassing nuisance fires.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Questions virtually? Any questions for HFD, Fire Department? Okay, questions for Fire Department here from the community? Okay, then I do have 2 questions, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So I was asked to follow up on the medical, there seemed to have been a lot of medical calls this past month. So you can hear the sirens going off and the ambulance. So was this past month higher? Was that a higher volume?
I would say a little higher from January, but on the whole, it's kind of average call volume on a monthly basis.
So nothing unusual then?
No.
And then similarly with the vehicle accidents, I was also asked to find out that there seemed to have been more vehicle or pedestrian accidents in Wahiawa in the last month or so.
I would say there was a little bit more than usual, but it kind of comes in waves. And I would say there were past months where there were more than what we had in February.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everything is manageable, is basically everything is manageable, not too much. And as far as for our ambulance services, they're able to maintain and assist with you folks as well.
Yeah, I mean it's manageable. I can't speak for EMS as far as their manpower staffing goes, but they always come when we call upon them. They're there.
Okay, great, terrific. I'll relay that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Fire Department.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Calling up our police department.
Good evening, Lieutenant Romel Baisa from the Wahiawa Police Station, Honolulu Police Department. Reporting for so far for the month of March for the Wahiawa sector of HPD. We've had 1 assault case, 1 burglary case that's breaking into somebody's home, We've actually had 28 motor vehicle collisions that we responded to. Not, granted, not all of them HFD or EMS respond to, yeah. We've had 0 robbery cases, 2 car break-ins, and so far in the month, we've had 583 service calls. For our safety tip, being that it's spring break this week for many schools, please talk to your children on how to be responsible people, teens and adults. Stay safe, of course, remind them to prioritize safety, whether they're traveling or staying at home. This includes being aware of their surroundings, using trusted transportation, and keeping emergency contacts handy. Communicate plans, encourage them to inform trusted adults or friends about their plans, including where they'll be and who they'll be with. Respect rules and laws, emphasize the importance of following rules, whether at home or in a different location. This includes respecting our laws and regulations, especially regarding alcohol and curfews. And then, of course, make smart choices. Encourage them to think critically about their decisions, especially regarding peer pressure. Thank you.
Okay. Questions from the board, Sylvia?
Hi, officer.
Hi.
I have 2 questions.
Uh-huh.
First of all, what should we do? There are a lot of electric bikes with little kids on them going very fast up and down our roads. Should we call 911 when we see this, or what can we do? Because they're every day when I go walking, I see so many. Also, motorcycles on the freeway. In California, I know it's legal to just go and form your own lane and go in and out, but I'm seeing it more and more here in Hawaii. And should we call 911 for that too? I mean, or do officers stop motorcycles when they see this happening? Because it just seems more and more, it's happening more often. Thank you.
Thank you. Regarding the electric bikes, it's a hot topic, of course, right? There's a new law that just passed. Before it used to be that 15 and under, you need to wear a helmet. They just passed a law in February 18th, that says you have to be, if you're 18 and over, you don't have to, but under 18, you have to wear a helmet. Right now, we're at a phase where we're educating the children. But of course, after a little while, then we are done with educating. We'll do citations. As far as the children, we're gonna have to pretty much police our own children. You know, we got our parents to educate also. So we're trying to do that. We are doing a bunch of projects with the officers at the Wahiawa station at different schools. They're trying to do a couple of projects a week, not to include the ones that the patrol officers are doing. So again, our focus right now is on education, and then later on we'll do the crackdown. Just like everything else, we try to give chance, yeah. But yeah, we'll ask our parents, of course, to help us out with that. As far as the motorcycles on the freeway, cutting in between vehicles is actually illegal. They're not supposed to do it, but just like everything else, with the e-bike, the motorcycles, by the time you call 911, as long as you can get a license plate, we can actually send an officer to their home to try to educate them. But any of those type of situations, the officers have to, because it's a violation, the officers have to observe the violation to be able to cite. They do pull people over for that. We do pull people over for that, if we can catch them. But you can imagine the challenge with a motor vehicle versus a motorcycle going in and out of traffic. Yeah, we do have on the freeway, especially, we do have our solo bike officers. They're always there, and so they can have a better chance of catching up to these guys. Yeah, hope that answers your question.
Thank you. And Joe, question?
The law you mentioned about the electric bikes,
Yes, sir.
that also includes a restriction on doing wheelies, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct. Yes, that's also being passed.
Okay, and,
Yeah.
and right now you guys are in a training phase. with the students?
Educating, correct.
Educating. Yeah. At what
Yeah.
point do you start going out and beating them up?
We haven't gotten word yet. However, of course, if it's something egregious, the officer can still use their judgment and cite if we have to.
Go ahead, Erin.
Hi. Along with those same lines, I guess there was a viral video of student, young person doing a wheelie, and then I guess, I don't know the whole details, and I actually didn't see the video, not to spread disinformation. But what would be the citation eventually after the education? Is it a ticket? Is it going to parents? I mean, I'm assuming you're not going to handcuff the child.
No,
Okay,
correct.
can you explain what would
it's a citation. Yeah, so it's,
explain what a citation is? Yeah.
so the parent can get a citation, but also the child can get a citation. So if the parent's there, then of course we'll cite the parent. If not, we'll cite the child, and then it's up for their parents to contest it and go to court for it or pay for it.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Questions from the community here for HPD, our police department? Okay, and virtually, any questions for HPD? Okay, hearing none, I do have one question, Lieutenant.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's good that the messaging is going out on the wheelie things, because I've witnessed it, and I actually was surrounded by 4 of them. This is in December when I was coming up on Kilani. So there are 4 of them. So 2 were behind me, and 2, one on each side of I mean, literally wheeling up with me as and I didn't want to go faster. I didn't want to, so it was really a kind of an awkward moment because I didn't want to make a scene. I didn't want to like toot my horn or whatever. It was about 10:30 in the evening, but I'm wondering, is HPD putting out any kind of messaging out there that we are, we are working on this, we're monitoring this so that people know that this is happening? Because I don't think our community is aware that you're trying to educate. So I'm just wondering, is there any kind of messaging or a news article, or the news station can do an article on this?
It actually has been on the media. We do have our traffic division that's in charge of that. We also have the Honolulu PD website. We have information on e-bikes regarding all the new laws coming up.
Okay.
But as far as our own commercials, PSAs from HPD, I'm not aware of any. I'm
Okay.
sure we have. I just haven't seen them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen it on the news.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. I just haven't, so I just wanted to make sure we can help you get that message
Sure,
out or
of
do
course.
something. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
think we're good with HPD then. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry, one
Oh,
last.
yeah.
Community resident wanted to know, what is the general time for people to end their parties if it goes to 1:30 in the morning? What do they do?
So there's no specific time. However, in general, anything after 10 is considered kind of getting to the borderline of getting to be a nuisance. The law does not specify though that it's at 10 o'clock. If there's any noise violation that is, even if it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and the noise is very obviously loud for the area, then we can still enforce the law, right, of disorderly conduct. But yeah, there's no specific law. But it's just be considerate. Most of the time, as soon as we get called, we try to give warnings again to people, and then we document it. After another warning, then they can get a citation for it.
Okay, because 1:30 is in the morning.
I believe so. Yes. Yes.
Okay, I will relay that they
Yes.
should just call 911 then.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. You had a question?
One more question. I know, is there not a law that you're not supposed to start like weed eating or lawn mowing until a certain time in the morning? And
If-
there's also something like on weekends, you're not supposed to start until like 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock on a weekday.
There is something on the I want to say it's the Department of Planning and Permitting. It's not an HPD law that we normally enforce. With those kinds of laws, we need a representative from that specific city or state department. Yeah, it's not HPD. We can counsel them. That's about it that we do. I mean, we don't necessarily, I'm sure if we research it at the time, we can cite them, but generally we don't.
Thank you.
It's another department that does that. Yeah.
I think there's a difference also whether it's a city or or state kind of mowers versus private mowers who get hired to come and mow the lawn. I think those are two.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
You can always call in based on the noise.
Okay, we're good then. Any other questions for police department? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Okay, we're on section 4 for our monthly reports. Can I call up, do we have Congressman Tokuda's representative? Hi, Nicole.
Hi, how are you?
Good, nice to hear from you. What's up?
Okay, so I submitted the written report, so I won't go over all of that, but did want to give you a few little updates and reminders. The Waianae Town Hall will be on April 5th. It's a Saturday. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You can RSVP. I'll put the link for that in the chat. Okay, maybe it won't let me. We'll see. I'll try to do that after I talk. And then I'm sure you're all aware that the federal government changes and things have been happening at warp speed. So I strongly encourage you, if you're at all interested, to see what Rep. Tokuda has to say on any given subject, to make your way to our website, tokuda.house.gov. They frequently post all the media stuff and anything that's being said or her opinions about things. So go there, and see what's going on or what she has to say about things. And also on that note, if you're on our website and you are being directly affected by any of these things coming from the administration, from Doge or Trump, please share your stories. Rep. Tokuda is sharing those with her colleagues, trying to, make a difference and make them understand that these are affecting real people in real time, right? And so when she has specific examples, it's powerful. And then on a happier note, the Congressional Art Competition is in full swing right now. And there's a couple of deadlines with that. April 9th is the deadline to submit a picture of the completed art piece and the student release. And then April 11th by 5 p.m., it needs to be submitted to the district office. And I will put that address. It moved at the beginning of the year, the district office. So I'll put that address in the chat. And I'm happy to take any questions and get them to the correct people.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Any questions from the board? Joe and then Aaron.
Just a simple question. What is the age limit for the artwork?
Oh, good question. I wish I knew more about it, but I will get that to the board. I believe it's high school is the cutoff, right?
Aaron?
Hi, thank you for being here. Just want to say, just share my appreciation and thanks for having Rep. Tokuda being a vocal representative and advocate, and just putting herself out there in town hall meetings and spreading information about what's happening at the federal level. So I appreciate that. And that I appreciate her stance with Representative Al Green. Just appreciate the things that she's doing and saying. My question is, how many people does she represent? So how big is this more of a general question? Just wondering how big is her constituency?
So the second congressional district is all of the neighbor islands and the rural part of Oahu. So the congressional districts are divided by population. So it would be an equal number for Rep. Tokuda and Congressman Case.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Questions from the community for Congresswoman's office? Okay. Virtually, any questions for Congresswoman Tokuda's office? Okay, hearing none. Nicole, just a quick question and in general.
Somebody has one. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I said, I see
Okay.
somebody has a question, just so you don't miss it. Yeah.
Look, okay. Dean, stand by real quick. I'm just going to ask a quick
Go
question.
ahead, Chair. Thank you.
We do, there is a lot of stuff going on, like you said. And the only thing I've heard so far that there may be a hit for Hawaii in general is the UH. Some of the medical sectors might have, some of the research department areas might be taking a hit with all the things that are going on. Do you have any ideas so far of what could be coming our way for our area? What kind of impact could be or is being discussed or not, whether it's, with the DOE, which could, is a huge situation that's being discussed. And in addition to that, someone else had asked if I could follow up if there's any kind of inclination of what's going to happen with the tariffs, because no one's talking about how Hawaii will be hit with tariffs versus all the other nations that are going through it right now. But is there any small kind of snippet that you could provide for us of what we could anticipate?
Yeah, so I don't know specifically your area, right? What is affected. I do know that, there are already impacts, regarding to school lunches, for instance, and, so all kinds of Department of Education things, veterans benefits are going to be affected when VA is slashing their employees, right? So there's going to be contact in all these spaces. A lot of it, I think, is going to be customer service related, as far as like your everyday person, right? Because if you don't have as many Social Security employees, for instance, you're going to be waiting in longer lines, right? You're not going to get someone on the phone. Same thing, IRS. It's tax season, and although a lot of them have been told that they are, they can't leave, because they were given that choice that they could leave and stay home and get paid or whatever. They were told that they couldn't, but there are a lot of them. I know specifically too for the Taxpayer Advocate Service, for instance, in a team of, I think they have maybe a team of 4 or 5 that have chosen that they're going to go ahead and retire after this tax season because they have that option and they just don't want to deal with it anymore, right? So I think everyday people, most people are going to feel it in those little ways. Obviously, you're going to feel it in if you have kids with the Department of Education. There's going to be so many things, right? Grants, the freezing of grants, that we're already seeing that. There's all kinds of funding things that are being frozen, and it's definitely hard times and times to really come together and push for every little bit that we can get. So, really appreciate that your question, and we would actually like to hear from you guys too. That's why we have that thing on the website for your stories, because we want to gauge to see how it is affecting everybody, right? The best knowledge comes directly from the source. So
Okay, that's great. Thank you for the opportunity. So we'll relay that community that they can go to their office to the link and provide any kind of comments as well, because
Yeah.
people are wondering. It's
Yeah.
just it's such a huge thing going on right now that questions are coming from all different angles. So please thank the Congresswoman for the work that she's doing. We appreciate both, our congressional delegation, what they're doing. So thank you very much. And I'm going to go to Dean now. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just wondering, out of curiosity, if you could ask the Congresswoman to come give back a cost of what it's costing the taxpayers every time this president goes down to Mar-a-Lago. He's talking about, cutting back, saving the country money, but yet he's off every week and going over there. And my sister lives in Florida, and she says it is a mess when he comes down to town because of the,
Yeah.
barrage he brings. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'd like to
I know
find
I've
out.
seen, I don't know off the top of my head, but I've seen those figures in different news things around,
Yeah.
and you know, heard the things of him charging, you know, the security 3 times the rate at the
Right.
hotel and
Right.
other things, you know,
Yeah. If
to
you could just
really
give me a
gouging
figure, I'd
the
appreciate it.
taxpayer.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah, um, on the DOE cuts for the state and so forth, won't it mean if they do get rid of the Department of Education federally, won't that mean that there's more money for each individual state and the states get to make more of their own decisions?
I don't know how you would get more money if you cut out the federal.
Because you're not paying a whole department.
But where does the funding come from? I honestly don't know. I wouldn't. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Madam
you.
Chair, can I add something? This is Erin.
Where?
Right here, back here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Erin, go ahead.
So I just have an immediate effect that we're feeling already at the DOE. So CASMU has decided not to reapply for DODEA grants, which is a federal funding grant. So we canceled our trips. I work for the district office. We canceled our trips to find out about the funding and then decided not to apply for federal funding. So this year we have a math grants, big math grants that affect the Lelehua, Mililani, and Wailua complex area. But because the amount of time it would take to apply for those grants and the iffiness of if those would even be funded, this complex area decided not to apply for any grants. So saving the work power in case they just were frozen, because it takes 2 people full-time to apply for these grants. So I know that's one thing that's kind of, you know, in the future, we decided as a complex area CASMU decided not to apply for them just because it's so uncertain.
Yeah.
So that's an impact.
Thank you, Erin. Yeah, because that's why I brought this up, because I know things are happening. So if it's okay, Nicole, is that something what Erin just provided?
Exactly.
Comment, send that over to your
Please do,
website.
yes. Those are exactly the things that we want to know, right?
That'd be okay. Very good. And then just I'm just gonna before we move on, I'm just gonna give one little tidbit since we have you here with us today, Nicole. I do want you to know that we do have in-house at this meeting, we have representatives from our military neighbors. So we have our Lieutenant Cox here from the Army and Daniel Sanford from the Navy. And we also have the governor's office representatives. So if you have any information that you would like to relay to them now, or if you just wanted to let you know, we do have those representatives here on site, and they'll be participating in the next section of our meeting.
Yeah, I don't have anything for them. We have liaisons that we're in contact with
Very
and
good.
in the
I
house.
just
And
want we have access to everyone. Okay, great.
yeah,
Thank you
thank you
very-
though.
Okay, I'm going to move on to, speaking of that, I'm going to call out Lieutenant Lexi Cox from our Army.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Just a few notes from the Army this month. So the first note is that we have an upcoming job fair next month. The U.S. Army Garrison is holding it on April 22nd at the Aliamanu Military Reservation gym, and it starts at 8:30 in the morning and it goes until 2:00 p.m. and it's open to the public. And you can have advanced applicants and they can go to www.himwr.com. For this month's training advisory, the Army will continue training in the East Range area with Ranger and Jungle Tactics on the 21st, the 24th through the 29th, and the 31st, as well as aviation training on the 19th, 22nd, 25th, and 27th. Additionally, on Schofield Barracks, there will be artillery and mortar training on the 18th through the 20th, and the 24th through the 31st, both day and night live fire, including late evening and early morning hours. Lastly, there will be demolitions training on the 21st, 22nd, both day and evening hours. And I have laid out the training advisory, so feel free to please grab a copy if you weren't able to write all of those down. Lastly, the National Vietnam Veterans Day Parade is coming up. It's going to be on March 29th, and the opening ceremony is going to begin at 4:30 p.m. at Fort de Russy, and the parade will begin at 6 p.m. along King Kalakaua Avenue in Waikiki. There's going to be marching bands, veterans groups, military units, community members, all in attendance. So we thank you for everyone for your service and sacrifice. And we appreciate all the support from the community in our efforts. And I will gladly take any questions, comments.
Lieutenant, oh, I'm sorry, Joe?
Just real quickly, all the training that's going to be happening in the next month, is that all US soldiers, or are we also training some international people like we did last quarter?
We have like select few soldiers, like international partners that are here, but it's far in between. We have entire units here with us.
Thank you.
Go ahead, June.
Just for clarification, the hiring fair is for MWR positions, moral welfare,
Say it again?
MWR positions, the hiring fair?
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't think they're hiring regular civil service people at this time, right?
Oh, it's open to the public.
No, I mean the regular civil service positions
Okay, yeah, I
not
understand.
is frozen, so yeah.
Right.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Questions from the community for the board? I mean, for the Army, I'm sorry. Virtually any questions for our Army? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, calling up Daniel Sanford from the U.S. Navy.
Hey, aloha, and board members and the community here in Wahiawa. I just wanted to inform you, we've just brought in our weekly mahalo, and this week it features the Navy.
Excuse me, Daniel, could you speak louder, or you can raise the mic up? Thank you.
All right, is that a little better?
Is that better? Yep, good.
Oh,
Thank you.
Great. All right, so this week's edition of the Mahalo discusses Navy volunteers working with the local Boy Scout troop to help repaint curbs and cover up graffiti at Kiehi Lagoon Beach Park. We are always looking for volunteer opportunities or areas in the community that need assistance, so please keep us in mind. Our La Lima Navy program, which we started this year to commemorate the Navy's 250th birthday. We are doing 250 acts along with that as well. Hopefully we'll exceed that, but currently we're 111 right now and going strong. So please reach out if we can be helpful in any way. And also we have monthly ship tours that I mentioned that last week, but do want to make another run at that again. We are scheduling tours, our white boat tours out in the community. These boats will go out to visit the USS Arizona and do a visit of the harbor out there in Pearl Harbor as well. We also, for the month of April, we have weekly tour visits aboard our guided missile destroyers. This is open to civic groups or school groups that may be interested in this. We are every Saturday, April 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th, we'll have tours. So please contact us if you are interested or want to get your group in on that. All right, and I think that's it. So I'm open for questions at this point.
Any questions from the board? Erin?
Good evening. Any updates on Red Hill? What is the situation?
Yes, we have a Red Hill representative online right now. I think they can take that question.
Who is it? The rep?
I'm not sure which one is there today.
Oh,
Hello?
is there a representative for Red Hill?
Oh, that's not fortuitous. Okay, I can take your questions though right now, Erin, if you have anything.
If you could have a general update just on the current progress and what is the cleanup effort and the the sustainability of that effort?
Absolutely, no problem. We will next month. We'll make sure that somebody's online.
Hey, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Of him, real quick. Also, in conjunction with that, is there any idea of what's going to be used or how that facility will be used once it's emptied?
Still
what's
a
the
ways to
update on
go
that?
as far as how it's going to, what it's going to come from the cleanup and everything. Still years to go behind it, it looks like. So once that it's cleared and that from that point, there'll be a decision from much higher up that they'll figure out what the best use of that real estate is.
It's going to take years to clean that up?
Okay, okay. Are you good? Okay. Any other questions from the board? And hearing none. Okay, thank you, Daniel.
You got it.
Okay, moving on to our government agencies, Board of Water Supply, Nicole.
Aloha, Chair, Board, residents, and guests. Sorry I'm online today. I'm sorry my camera's being junk and not working.
Okay, that's okay, go ahead.
There were 2 water main breaks in the Wahiawa Village area in February. On February 5th, a 6-inch galvanized steel pipe installed in 1958 broke at 187 Kalea Place. And on February 21st, a 6-inch cast iron water main broke at 57 Hau'ola Ave. Onto our water announcements. We are currently hiring, as is the rest of the city. But we are hiring specifically in the areas of engineering, information technology, customer service, field operations, and administrative positions. We invite the public to apply at boardofwatersupply.com/jobs or call 748-5160. And I'm happy to take back any questions or concerns.
Thank you, Nicole. Questions from? Go ahead.
I was curious, when all the work that's being done here in Wahiawa, I see on Palm Drive and so forth, the whole street, has one lane or one area, it looks like all the pipe or the main pipe for that road got replaced. And same thing for Glen and so forth. But now they're starting to work on the road I live on. But it's just a couple spots here and there. So what are they actually doing? Are they replacing all the pipes or what's actually happening for everybody?
So the work that's being done in Wahiawa is part of the water system improvements. So generally they're replacing all the pipes once they get past a certain age. If they have recently been replaced due to a water main break, then those sections would not need to be replaced again. However, I don't know the specific dates that there may have been breaks on your road or where they're at exactly in the project, but I can look that up. I don't want to give you false information, but if they've just recently replaced it due to a water main break, then they would just do pieces, if that makes sense. But Michelle, do you have
Okay.
what area are you? I can look that up specifically.
Eames.
She said Ames,
Ames, okay.
EAMES.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? From the community? And I see Dean. Hi, Dean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, Nicole. You just wanted to pass this on. I recently moved in, and my new home is up on California Avenue along the watershed, which is simply beautiful. And I just wanted to pass on the word to maintenance, telling them thank you very much for keeping the California grass at a very minimum. They've been out here twice already to cut back the grass. And as you know, that watershed road, that's actually California Avenue, is just one lane in and one lane out. It's an extension, but they're maintaining it really well. I do appreciate that. So just pass that on to them.
Absolutely, Dean. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Dean. Any other questions virtually for Board of Water Supply? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome. Take care, guys.
Okay, and from state side, Department of Transportation, is Fawn on? I can't, yeah, I don't see. Okay, we're gonna move on to residents' concerns. We're on section 4 of the agenda. We have 2 community announcements that came in. Sylvia, can you read A? And Michelle, can you read B? 4A.
Wahiawa, okay, A, Wahiawa Pineapple Festival, Saturday, April 5th, 2025 at Kaala Elementary School at 130 Kaala Avenue. This event is sponsored by Dole Food Company, Hawaii. Scheduled Pineapple Run is at 7 a.m. All other activities will begin at 9 and go till 2 o'clock at Kaala Elementary School. Events include live music, talent show, 25th Infantry Band, Tug of War School Challenge, food vendors, food trucks, craft fair, bounce houses, etc.
The 2025 67th Kunia Orchid Show and Plant Sale takes place on Friday, March 21st, 2025 from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, March 22nd, 2025 from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Leilehua High School gym. Admission is free. Come and see prize-winning orchids and floral displays. Also, orchid culture demonstration at 11 a.m. on both days. Kunia Country Store, garden supplies, and orchid plants will be sold. This event is sponsored by the Kunia Orchid Society and the LHS Athletic Department. Donations are welcome.
Okay, thank you, ladies. We're now on section 5, and we do have one presentation. Our rules of decorum for presentations. All participants at this meeting shall express the spirit of aloha to one another. There shall not be any displays of disrespect to one another. Public comments can be made within the stated time limits and without interruption unless the comments are offensive and or out of order and are not conducive to civil discourse. So our presentation tonight is the update on the Wahiawa Public Library Improvement Project, and our presenter is Joe Francher, the president of the Friends of the Wahiawa Library.
Thank you, Chair.
Joe, did you want to go to the mic or hold up or? Oh, okay, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yes. Yeah. As the chair noted, I am Joe Francher. I'm the president of the Friends of the Wahiawa Library. Our initials are Friends of the Wahiawa Library, FOWL, FOWL. Just a little bit of history. I'm sorry, I like that name. I'm sorry. Just a little bit of history on the library before I get into the status. The Wahiawa Public Library is the oldest community library in Oahu, excluding the state library downtown, which was actually formed in 1909. We were formed in, I didn't put it down on here, did I? We were formed, this library is formed in January 3rd, 1940. So it's 85 years old. Original library was the middle of California Avenue. Right now, I think that's the school district's offices. Yeah. The current library is down on the corner of Lehua and California Avenue, 820 California Avenue. That library was built in 1965, replacing what used to be the Wahiawa Hotel that was demolished to make room for the library. I think I owe you an apology because we talked about this before and I had the wrong location, but thanks. That area, I mentioned FOWL, Friends of the Library. Friends of the Wahiawa Library was actually formed in 1994 in response to the State Ethics Code, Chapter 84, which limited the role of librarians, restricting them from handling any monies. Therefore, the FOWL, as a nonprofit organization, assists the library in meeting community needs and helps fund additions to the library collection, specific programs, meeting spaces, and other assistance as needed. That's good enough for history. Last year, the governor approved funding to build a new Center for Workforce Excellence. The building will be on the site of the current library. Facility will be a 3-story building. The first floor will be the library and some parking. The second and third floor will be DOE offices and classrooms. Obviously, this means the demolition of the current library building. There will be a temporary pop-up library established, located in the Foodland Shopping Center in the former Jeans warehouse space. We expect the library to close sometime about May 3rd. We're expecting our last day of operation will be May 3rd. It takes, depending upon the construction group and the contractors, the building may not be affected for weeks afterwards. But May 3rd we're using as our closing date for the Wahiawa Library. And establishing a pop-up store in Jean's warehouse, that will take maybe 2 to 3 months to do. So there'll be a period of time when there's no library up here. And the state library, the Hawaii State Public Library System, is asking for about $200,000 a year for fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 27 to be able to support the pop-up location and new furniture for the new library when it's built. That money has not been appropriated yet. Hopefully, when the ledge ends in April, the end of April, that money will be out there and it'll be subject to the governor's veto. But hopefully this money will be available so we can actually at least operate the pop-up location and provide furniture for the new library. The new library is going to take about 2 years to be built. So we're expecting, this is 2025, we're expecting 2027 sometime, we will have a new library down there. What all this means for the community is that the library will shift temporarily from an 81,000 square foot building with restrooms, an office, and a meeting space to an 800 square foot inline store. In addition, there will be a need to reduce the number of books available way down from the current 47,000 volumes. The pop-up will have computer stations available for the public use. The expected duration of the pop-up, like I said, is about 2 years. Obviously, this will restrict student and community events, supporting both children and the elderly. In preparation for the library's closing, we're scheduling a prolonged book sale this month, next week actually. March 25th, 27th, 28th, and 29th during normal library hours. Those dates are the dates that the library is open. Library is closed on Sunday, Monday, open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. For the book sale, we'll open the racks of the library proper so you can browse through the books currently on the shelves, which are not designated for transfer to the pop-up or for storage. This will be a pretty wonderful opportunity because there's a lot of books on those shelves that we want to get rid of. Because of the size of the pop-up, some of the current events and meetings currently in the meeting room at the present library may need to be postponed or stopped. For instance, the summer reading challenge that will begin in the early June will be held at the Mililani Library instead of here during the first few weeks of summer. Finally, given the current federal DOGE activities, there will likely be further interruptions of service everywhere. For instance, a March 14th executive order cuts the size of the Institute for Museum and Library Services, which was IMLS. The IMLS provides about $1.5 million to the state library system, mostly to support electronic services like the computers at the library and the online books. Right now as to how this may or may not affect our library services, but I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that it will affect it at some point. I'll take any questions, or if I ran through that too fast, you need any other information?
Okay, any questions from the board regarding this upcoming project?
Nope.
Okay, any from the community?
I see a hand up over there.
Okay, wait, no one from the, okay, and Dean, you're up.
Hey, Joe, I was wondering, you mentioned a three-story building and with parking. Is that going to be strictly at the current site? Or is that going to also, are they going to move the A1 program, you know, the after-school program? Those
Well, that
bungalows?
that whole corner, that after the library and the pop-up store,
Uh-huh.
that will, the storefront school,
Yes.
those will be demolished. The building will take up the entire corner from California to Center Street. The parking will be inside. There will be more parking than we currently have. I know that much. I don't know the exact number of stalls,
Uh-huh.
but it will be on 3 levels.
Oh,
The second level will be classrooms for the community college, and the third level will be offices for the school district.
awesome. Thank you much, sir.
Sure. Anyone else?
Okay, any other questions? I do have, before, I don't see anyone. So I do have a couple questions.
Sure.
So my understanding is that where the current library is, that corner is what will, that building will be demolished, where the new building will be.
Yes,
So fronting California Avenue, you're going to see a 3-story building.
exactly. And
Right.
if you have the handout, the
Yep.
top picture on there
Yeah.
is the artist's rendition of what the building is going to look like.
And that's my question.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's huge. And does that fit Wahiawa? Do you think that that drawing, that rendering?
I don't personally. I don't know. They didn't do any meets with the community to talk
Exactly.
about.
That was my second question.
Yeah. They did have, like 2 weeks ago, they did have a presentation in the library meeting room, which is where I got the picture from of this building. What you see out there on that design on the building,
Yeah.
that's actually a screen that sets about 12 inches out from the concrete building itself. So, and that screen has 3 different renditions. I only showed one, but there's 3 different versions of it. But yes, that will be an outstanding large
I mean,
corner.
this is right along California Avenue, and it's truly, I mean, I'm excited. I'm looking forward for a new library. You see me at the library, but this is surprising.
That we were all surprised to see how massive this thing looked
Yeah.
on the corner. Yeah. Compared to the courthouse, which is going up right next to the library.
Yeah.
And the civic center next to that. Those are traditional government buildings. They look like government buildings. This library and DOE building. DOE, by the way, will be in charge of the building.
Right.
Will
Right,
be,
that I
library will be a tenant.
And I know we don't have all the information, but that really is surprising to me. And I guess, in contrast, because right across on the next corner, is Bank Hawaii, and it's so open.
First Hawaiian.
First one, I apologize, first one, but it's so open and it's not, it's pleasant to see.
The
even if
only,
it's a
the only
building.
relationship between that and the new building is the First Hawaiian Bank building is white.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not as in your face, if you will, as this one.
This will be actually, you'll know you're in Wahiawa as soon as you get onto California Avenue. 'cause you'll see
Probably
this
so.
thing.
I mean, again, excited and surprised. I truly didn't expect to see that, but maybe we don't have all the information yet. So
Like I said, the architects did not hold any meetings in the community to run by some different schemes. The contractor, Kiewit, tried to do something, but they didn't have this drawing at the time. And I agree with you, and I would love to find a more subtle building, but right now, this is what they're proposing.
okay. And my next question is, so what is the project cost on this one and the overall timeline?
The timeline is about 2 years,
Right.
Give or take. The budget that was approved last year, the governor signed last year, is 82 million.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Anybody? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Question.
Has anybody shown a picture of this building along with the new courthouse and everything, like side by side? to see what it looks like together?
No, they've provided a look at the new buildings, but the library wasn't done, the drawings for the library wasn't done at the time they presented that. Then we presented the library and they didn't show the new buildings, the courthouse and the civic center or the parking garage. So no, it will be a difference. I mean, you'll go from this massive white building to a gray concrete courthouse and maybe have some red windows or something, but it's definitely be a difference.
But actually, they did come in to do a presentation on the courthouse side. And they did a great presentation, provided all details. And it was, the design fell in line with Wahiawa. I mean, it's a nice building. There's windows, greenery. Yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
they've even got one big tree that they saved in the middle of
yeah.
between the courthouse and the civic center.
Yeah. Okay. I see Dean with a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'm sorry. Is this a discussion or is this just, is Joe representing or is it just, what I'm trying to say, should I make a motion to ask
I'm
for?
representing.
So, yeah, Joe is the president of the Wahiawa, Friends of Wahiawa Library. So I
Okay.
asked him to come and do a presentation because we had not been given any update.
Right.
So not an update that, yeah, we definitely weren't aware of this building. But so yeah, she did the presentation today.
Okay, so what I'm asking is, should the board address this to the state librarian or DAGS requesting a presentation to us?
Well,
You
that's
know?
why that's why Joe is taking any questions because he's going to take back those questions.
Department of Education,
Right. Oh,
state
DOE.
librarian. I have contacted the state librarian to try and get more information. They don't know as much as the DOE probably does, or DAGS even. So I can present complaints or concerns to the state librarian, but
For DOE.
DOE, if I knew who to contact at
Yeah.
DOE.
I think the board should address a letter to DOE then, if the building's going to be under their control, to ask for a presentation. Because again, we're trying to keep that whole part of Wahiawa with the aesthetics of Wahiawa. Now you're going to have an eyesore, a big elephant right there sitting in the middle between two beautiful buildings that just came up. But that,
Just is there? Oh yeah. Hey, Dean and everyone online, we're going to show you the photo that we have of the proposed building.
yeah, it looks like a metal building, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it's exactly. That's on the corner. That's California Avenue
Right.
on that corner.
Yes. Great picture. Thank you. Thank you for showing that.
That's I was surprised. But again, maybe we don't have all the information yet. So, okay, very good. Thank you, Dean.
Thank
Thank you, Joe. And then we're going to ask any community announcements that need to be done at this time. Could you please introduce yourself? Thank you. And thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Hello, members of Wahiawa Neighborhood Board. My name is Campbell Amick, and I serve as the Development Director for Surfing the Nations, the headquarters of which is located on Ojai Street here in Wahiawa. I'm here today to address the critical ongoing issue of excessive speeding, reckless driving, and blatant disregard for pedestrians and resident safety on all of Ojai Street and the surrounding areas. Our organization, which is deeply rooted in this community, has witnessed firsthand escalating danger posed by irresponsible driving. And on Ojai Street, a vital corridor for residents, and families impacted by our youth programs, and for our staff and volunteers, has become a high-risk zone due to unchecked speed violations and reckless driving behaviors. These infractions not only threaten the safety of our team and the families we work with, but also undermine the well-being of the entire neighborhood. The absence of consistent enforcement, coupled with inadequate traffic calming measures, has allowed this problem to persist and worsen. The potential for catastrophic accidents grows with each passing day, and I urge the council to take immediate action and consider installing speed bumps along Ojai Street before tragedy strikes and the unthinkable happens. students. More than 30 children live on the street, and over 30 more come into our programs on a regular basis. Every day they walk these sidewalks, cross the roads, and play just feet from speeding cars that show no regard for their lives or their safety. We can't afford to wait until a child is injured or worse to take action. The need for speed bumps is not just a request, it's a desperate plea to prevent the unimaginable. Families in this community deserve to know that their children are safe, and we need action now before another near miss becomes a devastating reality. As an organization that's dedicated to the welfare of this community, we implore you as the council to uphold this duty in protecting residents from preventable harm. The safety of pedestrians, residents, and all who pass through High Street must be prioritized without delay. So thank you for your time, and I pray that this would receive the urgent attention that it deserves.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay, before you walk away, any questions from the board? Erin, go ahead.
Hi, Campbell. Thanks for being here. So I'm part of the safe walking routes with Kaala Elementary School. So I walk students from Walgreens and part of that way. And I mean, you mentioned sidewalks, but there really are no sidewalks, and
Sure.
cars just park along there. So I'm glad you're here advocating for that, because it really is unsafe, and there's not even a crosswalk. So it's really, you have to really safely navigate and walk into the street to do that, and around puddles, trash. And it's an unsafe zone. So thanks for calling attention to this need.
Any other questions from the board? From the community? Yes, of course. Can you come? Oh, we don't have the mic. Oh, can you borrow one of the mics? And introduce yourself, please. Thank you.
My name is Frank Powell. I'm a longtime Wahiawa resident. I'm a member of the Lions Club, also a vice president of the senior club, Rainbow Club. I see what's happening with our traffic. It's crazy. It's getting crazier. We need to eliminate the parking that's along the main road, Kamehameha Highway, because that attributes to the danger as well. You would probably have more room, less problems if you had no parking, just cars. Put the parking behind if they can find a place. I mean, but it's a problem, because all these years we've always parked there. But if you've noticed in the last 10 years, traffic backs up really bad. And part of it is people trying to make illegal left turns into Ojai Street, that corner right there. They're always trying to turn the first road, I guess that's Ojai Street, that goes left. They're trying to make left turns. So anyway, my idea is that my suggestion is whoever can do it is eliminate the parking. That would be one first step. The second step would be safer sidewalks. And yes, I do see people walking kids, which, is really good. I was thinking about volunteering for that too, because I'm retired and I have some time I could do that. I'm already taking a child to school. That's not even my keiki, but I'm doing it for my neighbor. Yeah, so anyway, that would be my suggestion.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Any other questions? Oh, yes, go ahead.
My name is Tom Bauer. So I'm just representing just the Ojai, really what's happening. So, is that people think that it's Cam Highway. So we wanted to put a sign that says, this is not Cam Highway. So everybody's going around, they either go Ojai Street, or they go Walker. And so it's interesting because on Walker Street behind McDonald's, they do have a speed bump for that very purpose, but somehow they have forgotten about Ojai Street. And so they just jam through there. So it really is dangerous. And your point, we had a sign in our coffee shop that said, keep street parking. All right. So one of the things that we're having is that if you eliminate, they already eliminated on the right-hand side of Cam Highway, all those. And I think I've been up here before advocating to not take the other side of the street. So from Walgreen to Surfers Coffee and Santa Loco, the surf shop. So yeah, so it's always going to be a problem. What do you do? We can't eliminate the parking. where do we go, you know? So anyway, I'm just asking the board, and maybe Campbell, you can give the chair just the paper, but really like, and she's been trying to meet with Donovan to deal with the problem, but yeah, it is a problem.
Well, thank you. And it's nice to see you, Tom. Yeah, go ahead. And then I'll.
Tom, just as when you moved into where you're at now, it was about the time that the State Department of Transportation was cleaning up the intersections up here, and they brought up the subject of taking out all the parking spaces, and all the businesses on Cam Highway said, no way, it would kill them. So yeah, this issue has been out there for 12, 15 years already.
No, you need to talk in the mic. You need to talk in the mic. You can go up by Campbell, actually. What I need.
Yeah.
Questions.
I don't think the issue really, I mean, the traffic lights control it, you know, so if you wiped all that out, it is going to probably help to some degree, but then all the businesses and the locals all through there, they're going to be devastated because it's going to create another problem farther back off of Cam Highway. So I think these problems have been addressed for a long time, and the solution was to take out the right-hand side. And I think that did help. And if Dean's listening, was brought up about, you know, where they in front of Maui Mike's, you know, the bus and the turn right there, I think that really helped as well. So I think there's a lot of really positive things that are happening on the traffic, and especially on Cam Highway.
Okay, thank you. And Dean, and then after Dean, I have a few comments. Go ahead, Dean.
Hi, mahalo. Thank you. Good to see you, Tom. Also, I just want to reiterate to everyone why we shortcut the name of the road as Cam Highway. It's actually Kamehameha Highway. And I would appreciate it as a Native Hawaiian speaker if you would at least address it the first time as Kamehameha, and then afterwards you can say Cam Highway. We all do. My thing is did you folks actually, I think her name was Becky? Is that right? The young lady? I'm
Campbell.
sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Did you actually it's DTS, Department of Transportation Services at the city, not state highways. Have you spoken with them regarding your request for a road hump or bump?
I have reached out and begun lobbying for that, but I'm presenting it to the neighborhood council as well. So it's a conversation that has been ongoing for a bit, yes.
With the city? That's what I'm asking.
With the city, yes.
Okay, because I know that you have to gather at least, I think it's like, I want to say between 50 and 75% of the residents sign your petition, and then they'll go ahead and do a survey. And I do agree with you. A lot of people use that back road all the way from California Avenue on Ohio Street all the way down to exit out of Wahiawa when Kamehameha Highway is backlogged. So you have a good cause there. I hope if you need help, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to make a few phone calls to myself. But thank you for bringing that to our forefront.
Dean, just a note, you need a percentage of the owners, not just the residents.
Oh, the property owner. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other comments virtually? Okay. Okay, so Tom and Campbell, so just some background. So I actually spearheaded that years in that, probably a dozen years right now, because there was such a traffic issue. We held 7 community meetings, and each one was packed with people who had comments and people who said, get rid of all this parking, and don't get rid of the parking. We had to meet with Walgreens, we had to meet with Maui Mike's, with McDonald's, everybody else. I mean, and partly was because of increase of traffic that was coming inbound. The off-ramp, that section was getting tangled, everything was getting blocked up. It took a while to get everything going, but we did work very closely with the Department of Transportation Services. We also had to get petitions done, and so that had to get processed. There was a lot of studies that were done. They came out multiple times, and we stood on the sidewalks, timing, measuring, count. Multiple amounts of hours was put in, but we were successful as a group, as a community, to correct that. So things are better, but I think maybe there's more people moving this way or more traffic, but there is more traffic, and the signals are timed for a certain period. And I think that if there is no other option at this point. If we're talking about Kamehameha Highway, the only other area is on the right-hand side outbound if we needed more lanes. So you got to keep that in mind, because then we also need to go and look on the backside of Ojai. So which is more important and which is more doable, and which is going to be better for the community. So if Ojai is the issue, then that's where we would have to formally meet up, and you would and all that kind of stuff to us requesting, and we'd have to do signatures. But the thing is the issue safety, or is the issue of no parking or no sidewalks? Because all of that has to be, what are we looking for in that area? Because you can't say we need sidewalks, or do we need parking, or what is it that would help make that area safe? So that's something if you guys can think about, because if you're going back and you're talking to people and you have all your notes, the thing is, what do we want? What can we help you to make that area safe? And is it better lighting? Is it, because that area is as busy on the flip side of Kamehameha Highway, on the flip side, Ojai Street, because you got cars coming out from that back road. So that is as busy as Kamehameha Highway as well. So if you can think about it a little bit deeper, and before you leave, you can give me a number and all that, and we can talk about it. Because I worked with the DTS and Representative Oshiro, and it was a lot of work, but we got it done. So it was successful for the community, and that's what we're here for. So if you can maybe hang out later on, and we can talk story more.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the whole issue is just the speed bump.
Okay,
You know,
so
if you see the one on Walker behind McDonald's,
Mhm.
we're just asking for that to be on Ojai Street, and it will alleviate so much problems.
Okay,
So
you
we're just
need
talking
one
about
speed hump?
safety. What's that?
You just need one speed hump?
Well, that's where they can just look. I mean, one is good, two is better,
Okay.
But it doesn't make sense, the one on Walker. Why is there one on Walker and there's one not on Ojai Street? So the thing is, it's not just Ojai Street, it's all, it's on Walker, with the Mormon church on the
Yeah.
corner there. So
But
it's
that
just-
speed hump actually is helpful, because in the morning when I'm leaving, people are speeding down there. Because you can
down
just see
Walker
down,
or-
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
so
at
they,
least it's a deterrent.
yeah,
It's better than
but-
nothing.
right.
So
So it actually is useful in that area, especially in the morning. But yeah, so we can talk more a little bit, and we
Yeah,
can
okay.
see what happens from there.
great.
Sounds
Thank you.
good. Thank you. Okay, any other comments from the community? Okay, thank you very much. We're in section 6, elected officials. Is Kevin here from Mayor's office? Online, great.
Can you see me?
You're good.
Oh, perfect. I apologize. I had to phone it in tonight because I had a conflict with another community meeting also tonight. But fortunately, I've only got a small couple follow-up items. One relates to Delilah Sampson. She was the young lady who was seeking a permit for an Eagle project. She wanted to create a little library near bus stops. And we reached out to DTS, Department of Transportation Services, and they've encouraged Delilah to create the free library in conjunction with DTS's bus stop volunteer program. Through the program, DTS partners with the community and school groups willing to donate their time and labor to perform minor repairs and maintenance work at the bus transit centers, shelters, and bus stops. And DTS provides the materials and supplies free of charge, which is kind of neat. DTS has encouraged Delilah and her advisors to contact Aaron Kanaeo at the DTS Transportation Mobility Division. We provided his email so that she can learn more about the options for installing those libraries. And we also reached out to DPP, and they indicated that DTS would issue the permit for that kind of a request. So we've sent an email to Delilah letting her know about that program. Haven't heard back from me yet, but just wanted to let the board know that we did follow up, and sounds like a great little project, and hopefully we can help her out. And then the only other item I had was the mayor's state of the city is tomorrow night, 6 p.m. on Olelo. And just wanted to make sure the board and board members were aware of, and the community is aware of that. But that's all I had this evening, Chair.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions from the board? Questions from the community? And question, oh, hi, Dean, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Kevin. How are you, sir?
Very well. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad you're here with us. My question is, this is regarding the handy van and the reservation. They take only reservations at the top of every hour. They used to do every 30 minutes. They could set a pickup time every 30 minutes. Now it's only at the top of the hour. So some passengers have been waiting past the 30 minutes that they ask you to give them as a leeway. So in other words, if you have 11 o'clock pickup, the van is supposed to be there between 11 and 11:30. And they are waiting 10, 15 minutes past that. So is there any way that can revert back to? Because I think at the half hour, it's a lot easier to say your bus will arrive at 11:45 rather than saying you got to call in, pickup time is 11 and you wait 45 minutes unknowing.
Yeah, no, I wasn't aware of that, and that makes a lot of sense. And naturally, we'll follow up with DTS to see if they can revert to the pre. So what you're saying is that it's possible if the bus is a little bit late, somebody could be waiting around for 40, 45 minutes until the pickup time.
Yeah, and it's only the handy van, because they do set their times accordingly. Like at the top of the hour, they tell everybody who needs a bus ride at that time a handicap pickup 11 o'clock, and then because everybody can't get picked up at 11. So, we do know the travel time distance, and they try and make the route as quickly as possible. But sometimes there's traffic, construction, accident, whatever.
Got it.
So at the 30-minute, I think it'd be a little bit better.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely bring it up with DTS for sure. We'll follow up.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Dean. Any other questions virtually? No? Okay, then Kevin, I do have a couple follow-up questions for you,
Sure.
if you don't mind.
Of course.
The mayor's State of the City is tomorrow at what time?
Yes, it's tomorrow. I believe it starts 6 p.m. and it'll be televised on Olelo.
On Olelo. Okay, thank you. And on that note, thank you for the listing of town hall meetings. I'm wondering if there's a chance that mayor's town hall meetings could come to Wahiawa, because in the past years, it's always been at Mililani.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that he could come out to Wahiawa, especially since we have the landfill issue, we keep, that is
That's a good point. So I'm not sure obviously they need a facility that's large enough to accommodate the crowd and the participants. Not sure how that works. I'll reach out to the comms committee tomorrow. We can try to get a quick answer around that. But I understand what you're saying. It makes sense.
Well, yeah, because actually, this room here can fit like 100 people, but we also can use the Whitmore facility, the Whitmore Community Park. They have a gym there. And we had a few years back, I'm going to say maybe 4 or 5 years, we had almost 300 people in that, and it was a big issue at that time. So the Wahiawa community went there because we used the gym. So we do have a way of accommodating a large crowd if it were to be anticipated to be that. But I believe it's important if he has a chance, maybe not in this schedule, but if it's possible to have him come by, because it is top of mind for most of our community.
Understood. I'll bring it up with the communications team tomorrow. I'm not sure how they organize those logistics, but it makes sense given the urgency of the matter, for sure.
Okay, thank you. And last one is, I was asked about follow-up of what is the status of our location, where the facilities are now being used again by individuals. So there were, the corner that I'm talking about when you come into.
Sure. Yeah.
So lately, in the past, that there was one structure in the middle that was like, it's a brick building, but the walls are broken down so you could see. But now someone's put up plywood again, so you can't see anything that's going on in there. There, if you're facing that area, on the left-hand side, there are tables and camping tents. And then you have that building that's been plywooded up. And then you have the next section, which there's a bunch of people that are always hanging around by the fence that's going down to the gulch side. So, so people are asking, oh, you guys are doing a good job. It's getting cleaned up, but it seems like it's stalled. Or is there a plan, or is there something that we can meet about? Because people are getting anxious about not seeing anything happening with that area.
Yeah, it's been a very frustrating situation for everyone, including the administration of DPP. But let me find out what the latest is on that. I'd be speculating otherwise because I just don't know. But I will follow
Okay.
up.
Okay, and if you want, like in the past, we've dealt with so many issues in Wahiawa, but if you want, we can organize like a group and go out there and do some study or whatnot, or at least take some steps forward, because I am getting asked about this frequently. So I'm hoping we can at least provide something. Yeah.
Yeah, is the local precinct helping with that? Are they following up and just to see who's?
Well, they have, I actually called them a couple of times. So they went down and I was on the side, but they did talk to them about moving along and whatnot. But that was like last month.
Okay.
So, but I think it needs to be frequent, not just you see it. So I know you got a lot going on, but this one is kind of meandering. So if we can get going on something, and maybe later you can, I don't know what the holdup is, but I know it's whether it's city property, state property, military property. And the other thing that people are concerned about in that area is the height of the trees. They're huge now. So with all the big winds, and they're saying, well, are they ever going to cut some of those trees down, trim it down? And I know that's a state issue because it's in the lake area, but the trees are huge.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
moving on.
Mahalo.
Thank you. Mahalo. And we're going to move on to Councilmember Wire's office. Kelly? Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Chair, members of the board, Kelly Anaya from Councilmember Matt Wire's office. Thank you for having me. Just a couple updates from Councilmember. He wanted to recognize, or he did recognize the Lelehua High School varsity football on their Division I OIA championship at last month's full council. We also started the fiscal year 2026 budget season last week with the departmental budget briefings. Please follow along at honolulucitycouncil.org on ways to submit testimony or to tune into future hearings. A couple of updates within the district, the California Avenue walkways. The project is currently with DTS in the design phase, and they anticipate the full design completion in 2027. I also wanted to give a shout out to the DFM road crew for doing the restriping of Center Street, as well as the California Avenue bike lanes restriping in both directions. Councilmember's office received many concerns about speeding on California Avenue, particularly up in the Iliahi Elementary and Trinity School vicinity. DTS completed their traffic study and found that speed humps are warranted. They will be putting in a request with the DOT for 6 speed bumps. No timeline has been provided for that. And then to recap some of the legislative updates from last month, Bill 15, which creates a grant program for the cesspool conversion and sewer hookup fee, is up for second reading this Wednesday, March 19th at full council. Bill 18, which would remove single-use plastic bottles from vending machines, is also up for second reading this Wednesday. And Bill 61, which relates to wheelies, is up for third and final reading as well this Wednesday. A couple of CIP budget proposals. The Wahiawa Civic Center Satellite City Hall has a proposed $2 billion for construction. The Cam Highway Whitmore Ave sewer improvement has about $100,000 to begin sewer capacity upgrades. And the Wahiawa Whitmore wastewater facility upgrades has about $1 million for condition assessment and infrastructure improvements. I think that's it. Oh, and then to follow up from last month's meeting, I believe board member Mendelson had asked about the cesspool non-conversion fines. There's nothing on the city side. But if EPA were to impose the fines, it would most likely be to the state and not to individual property owners. So you may need to follow up with the state to see what would be done with that. And that's all the updates I have for tonight. If anyone has any questions for council member, I can take them back.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Board member, oh, go ahead.
Hi, this question is in relation to the Royal Palm trees on Royal Palm Drive. I'm just kind of curious. Some of them don't look too good. And I know the rhinoceros beetle, you know, kind of infested some of them. And I know there was some treatment that happened. Do we have an update as to how they're doing, or is this just a transition phase? Or is there are they going to have more treatment?
So they did the last treatment, I believe it was in January of this year. I guess like what, 2 months ago. They are monitoring it on a regular basis. The last time they were out there, they didn't deem any of the trees warranting removal. So that's why none of them have been removed yet, but they are monitoring it. I'm sure, as you know, the issue is, even though they keep treating it, I mean, until you get rid of the bulk of the beetles, I mean, it's just going to keep getting reinfected. So there's nothing else that right now that was told to me. I mean, basically they're just monitoring it. As far as the next scheduled round of treatments, I'm not sure. They didn't tell me. However, they did mention that one of the issues that they're facing as well is with the honeybees. I guess you don't want to treat the trees, I guess, when the honeybees are, please don't quote me, I don't have my notes in front of me, but I can send that to you after. But yeah, basically it's honeybees. I believe the treatment of the palm trees, I believe that they're detrimental to the bees. So they're trying to be mindful of that as well.
Okay, thank you. I know they did plant some new trees as well, and they're growing very nicely.
That's good. Hopefully they stay unaffected.
Go ahead, Erin.
Hi, Kelly. Just saying thank you for the follow-up about
Sure.
the cesspool. Yeah, a while ago, at my previous home, I received that letter from the EPA, but I'm assuming now with the destruction of the EPA that probably those things won't happen. So thank you for the update.
No problem.
Okay, any other questions from, oh, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Kelly, you mentioned putting in a request for speed humps by Wahiawa.
Yes.
Can you add a couple on Rose Street and perhaps 1 or 2 on Ohio?
I can see if we can revisit that again.
Cute.
No problem.
Hey, any other questions here? Okay, in the community, any questions from the community? And turning to Joe, go ahead. No, Dean, I'm sorry, Dean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, Kelly. Always good to see you.
Hi.
This is also for Kevin. If you could please make a note, I forgot to bring it up. 2 delineators on California Avenue, Friendly Bank of Hawaii, were killed a few days ago, and so they're flatlined out in the crosswalk. So we could get DPS or DFM to replace them.
No problem. You know, I was just out there on Friday.
Yeah.
What happened over the weekend?
I don't know. Somebody must have thought it was, I don't know. I don't want to say DUI or something.
Yeah. No problem. I'll go ahead and take care of that.
Okay, thank you much.
Thank you.
Hi, Dean, I'm sorry, we couldn't get that. What happened? What did you just report?
The delineators, the markings for the stanchions that separate in the crosswalk. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
We're like, what?
Oh, police
Okay,
talk,
thanks so
sorry.
much. And I see Val. Go ahead, Val.
Thank you, Chair. Kelly, I just wanted to say thank you so much for connecting the outreach with Stacy from Dole. We're continuing to do our outreach efforts, and we have began servicing the people in that Willikina, Lakeview area. So just wanted to thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for working with Dola. Looking forward to that cleanup. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Good teamwork. Terrific. And then Kelly, before maybe I'll give you a call because maybe we can tandem on there's another issue of speed humps. I think you might have heard it earlier on Ojai Street. So,
Yes.
um,
I was gonna
like
ask you if you wanted me to follow up on that or how you guys wanted
well,
to.
I'm going to actually meet with them first and then, because Tom, they're here, so I'm going to get info and then I can contact you and then
Sure.
here we go again with what we did with all the meetings we had. But we'll get
No
into it.
problem.
So,
No problem. Just
but
let me know.
Yeah, let's do some research first and then we'll get back to you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we're good. Okay, very good. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to Governor Green's office, Rosemary. You can, yeah, you can go to the microphone.
Hi, can you hear me? Great. Two things that I wanted to bring back to the board, some questions raised previously regarding the traffic advisory boards. There was a request made from the board regarding traffic advisory boards along the H2. And I reached out to DOT, excuse me, and according to DOT, the state is no longer installing dynamic messaging signs to communicate with drivers. The department will be shifting to connected vehicle technology that will provide messaging directly to drivers via a software app. And with that, the connected vehicle technology is dependent on traffic signal controllers on Oahu being upgraded to newer models. And the latest on that is that the connected vehicle project has been advertised last month, and the state anticipates the contract award to be awarded sometime in the fall, around August of this year. So, and according to the state, the vehicle technology project is a statewide project. So when the contract is awarded, the state will have a better idea of when the deployment schedule will be for Oahu. I believe they're going to plan to start on Kauai and then move down. And regarding a question on way stations being installed along the H1, I'm told there are no plans to install way stations at this time. And I'll be happy to take any question. This was a question way back, so I'll bring it back. I apologize.
No, it's fine. We appreciate it. Any questions from the board? Go ahead.
Hi, Rosemary. Thank you for
Yes.
being here. I want to read a little something from Civil Beat. It says the State Salary Commission, which itself is made up of former and current public officials, has recommended a package of raises that range from 35 to 48% over 6 years for the legislature, governor, judges, and other state leaders. Most of those raises will automatically take effect starting July 1st, unless the legislature votes to reject them. There's some House and Senate senators that have introduced a resolution to reject the package of pay increases, but those resolutions may die in silence. Now, the research I did shows that the governor already makes 20% more than the average. So I was wondering if he's going to reject his raise.
I can find out as best as I can. I don't have the answer to that. I apologize.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, regarding the traffic software you were talking about, is
Yes,
that
sir.
totally funded by the state or are we using any federal money for that? I don't remember seeing it in the tip.
I can find out.
Thanks.
Sure.
Okay, any other questions from the board members? From the community for the governor's office? And virtually, Joe, go ahead. I mean, Dean, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dean.
I know.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, regarding your traffic smart traffic vehicles, what is the state DOT? How are they going to address, you know, we're a very longevity living people. So you have people who have cars that are 20 and 20 plus years older. They're not smart related cars. How are they going to address the situation of traffic awareness to them? You know, everything is technology based now, but we have to also consider what we have before technology was here. There are still a lot of old cars operating on the state highways. The state has a responsibility to get the same message that they're getting out to these smart cars to the people who don't have smart vehicle reception. Whether they want to put it on a cell phone, which I think would be better because almost 99.9% people have a cell phone. You know, the city does that. They send out traffic alerts on their city alert system. So I think the state should be doing the same, especially DOT. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, coming back to Sylvia.
I've heard about driverless cars on the mainland, and it's becoming very, very prevalent in some of our bigger cities. There's an estimate that I read today that within the next decade, half of San Francisco, for example, will be all driverless. And I'm thinking about Hawaii, and of course, we're totally different with our geographical space and with the people that we have here. Is the governor or anybody that you're aware of in government looking at how that might fit over here and what we might do to, help mediate some of traffic accidents, pedestrian accidents? What's the prognosis of driverless cars here in Hawaii?
I'll take that back.
Any other questions for the governor's office? Well, I just have a simple comment. I'm just kind of curious when you talk about driverless messaging or I think that would be a distraction actually. I mean, when you're driving and then if as Dean said on the phone, that means you're gonna reach for your phone and then I'm just thinking or is it gonna be funneled through the radio, or anyway, I just hope that there's been some thoughtfulness in that because the whole thing is you're supposed to be cautious and aware when you're driving. So if you have things binging or, messaging, I just hope it's safe. That's the main thing. But that plan, you said it went out to bid. So if that's going out to bid, what is the timeline on that project?
They're anticipating the contract award sometime in August of this year.
But actual implementation, like when will the public be aware of this system potentially, however it works? I mean, the actual start date, if you will, or proposed start date. Is it like 2 years out, 3 years out?
I believe from what I heard so far, the deployment for Oahu is sometime in mid 2026. That's a
guess. Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, tentative.
Okay. Okay, very good. And last thing is there anything that you can share with us that you've heard about, we asked the Congresswoman's office about things and she was able to share some things and we learned from Erin how they're being impacted. Is there anything from your side that you can share with us about things that are going on that we need to be aware of with all the changes going up in DC?
Oh, in DC, yes. I mean, I understand that the governor is doing his best to protect the people of Hawaii, and he's working on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're good. Thank you for being here to. I'm sorry. We have a question for you. Yes, go ahead.
You know, technology is really good, except a lot of people don't know how to use it. So could the governor think about having on the website a specific area where you can give instructions and how to go about finding what you have to find or how to do what you have to do and being able to use the new technology that you want to give? Because, you know, I'm finding out that there are a lot of problems, there are a lot of answers, but where do you find it? Who can you call, you know? And like, for example, just trying to look at the city's website, Office of Aging, do you know that you have to know that it's under community service to be able to find it? And if you don't know that you can't find it at all unless you, I don't know, I didn't try Googling directly. But these websites are very beautiful, but to me, it's very difficult to figure out how to find what you want to for government websites. And also too, you got to remember as we're aging, even people who were in technology when they retired, they're having problems because the technology is moving so fast forward, even they're getting lost too. So just keep that in mind, and maybe there might be a state department that can keep everyone abreast as to what's happening in technology.
Thank you, Lei. Yeah, go ahead, Erin.
I just add to Leigh's comment and then for the state. I mean, I feel like the library service would be a great place for that. Computer centers, public access. I don't know if that's something that public libraries could provide, is media literacy or navigation of the state websites.
Thank you, Erin. Yeah, good point. Thank you. Okay, any other questions for Governor's office? Yep, seeing none. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Really good to see you. Thank you. Okay, now we are on section 6D. So Senator De La Cruz's office. Malachi, are you there?
Hi, Chair.
Oh,
Hi, Chair. Hi, board members. Charles Miller here from Senator De La Cruz's office, filling in for Malachi. I'll start up by following up from the last board meeting. We've been in contact with DOA about the palm trees on Royal Palm Drive. And this week they're going to hopefully send us a schedule of when the treatments are going to be happening. Then the second part of it was the Wahiawa Freshwater State Recreation Area, the environmental assessment. DLNR consultants estimate their timeline will be done by April 1st, and DLNR plans to be present at the next neighborhood board meeting to present the environmental assessment. The traffic study and parking concerns. They have doing a traffic study, but they're only have drafted the report. It's not finalized yet. And they also said that State Parks completed a parking project that increased parking, as well as there's additional parking room for parking in unmarked areas. And then they went on to say for the past couple of years, DLNR, in partnership with the community, has organized annual days at the lake event. And they said that nobody parked on Walker Ave during the event. And there was approximately 1,000 attendees, with 400 people doing the boat ride. And then with the in and out traffic concerns, DLNR said when they hold their annual events, they provided traffic and parking attendants, but there was not a problem with vehicles coming in and out of the park because many community members just walk from their homes. Update on the 2025 session. First crossover was on March 6th, which means that Senate bills crossed over to the House and the House bills crossed over to the Senate. And hearings have begun for the bills on the crossover. And the first committees will be finished up this week. And then the state budget has also crossed over to the Senate. And then addressing the landfill bills, Senate Bill 448, which appropriates funds for the state to purchase a conservation easement from Dole, which would ensure that agricultural lands are kept in production and predicted moving forward, passed out of Agriculture and Food Systems and will now be heard by the House Committee of Finance. And then Senate Bill 438 to prevent any landfills from being sited over aquifers. passed the front end committee of energy and environmental protection, and now it's being referred to water and land. And then because of the similarities in Senate Bill 438 and Senate Bill 446, the House decided to defer Senate Bill 446. And then to do with the Wahiawa Value Added Product Development Center, the educational programs, the Lean Launch series is this week, Wednesday, March 19th from 5:30 to 6:30 on Zoom, and registration is open. Also this week on March 21st, Friday, the Canoe Crop Series is a hands-on workshop with Gabe Scatcher-Smith. It's from 5 to 7 p.m. and registration is open. And then starting next month, which will be every third Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., there'll be a Wahiawa Market Day, which will feature and showcase local food businesses that their products are grown locally or produced locally. And it's just to celebrate the unique flavors and cultures of Hawaii. And I'm open for any questions from the public, the board, or you, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Charles, thank you very much for your help you've given me and Malachi. Also, in regards to the library that's going to be built, and I know Donovan had a great interest in that. So I don't know if you heard the concerns earlier in this meeting about the look of the library, it doesn't blend with Wahiawa. I don't know if the senator is aware of what the library is the building is actually going to look like. If you can either pass it on to him, my complaint, and if not, I can try and get hold of him. Thanks.
Yes, I can pass along the concerns about the library to him.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Hi, Malachi. Thank you for the update on the trees. And I'm going to assume you heard what I read to Rosemary for the governor. And I'd just like to follow up on that. And again, from Civil Beat, it says 40% raise for lawmakers would bring their annual salaries to $103,824 by 2027, which is more than double the national average. So there's a Senate concurrent resolution 36 has been introduced to the Senate and to reject the raise. So I'm wondering what the senator thinks about it, and is he going to call for a public hearing?
I am not sure what is going to happen with that resolution, but I can get back to you on that and follow up with this Malachi and Senator.
Any other questions on the board here? And if not, we have Dean on virtual.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Charles. I'm talking, we're addressing the parking and the entrance and exit of the freshwater park. They said they had over 1,000 people there. Well, that's true. There were a lot of people there. And I don't think everyone came from the immediate area of that freshwater park. My thing is that my auntie lives 2 houses away from the entrance of the park. The lane narrows to one way in, one way out. Okay. DLNR is talking about really promoting this, the freshwater park as a visitor center, which is great. We do need it. I know a lot of people that go there. But the thing is my concern is the traffic of the basic 6 homes just before that gate. Okay, on the Waianae side of the street, you have the majority of the homes parking their vehicles on the street. So that's narrowing it down now, basically to one way. You know, handy vans go in and out of there all the time because of the development school in the back. The LNR has their personnel over there going in and out, hauling boats. Fishermen come in over there with trucks hauling boats. So I'd really like to know who responded to your question, my question regarding the traffic study. If you could get me that information, I'd like to talk to them to see what did they do to give you that response. Because to me, that is totally bogus, you know. I'm wondering how old that study was. Okay, but if you
Yeah.
could do that, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, that was a response. I think that might have been a later response, but they are in the draft in development of a new traffic study.
Okay, so now they're doing a new traffic study. Okay, I appreciate that update. I didn't hear you say that. I appreciate it. I'll wait to hear back from you or from them with the new study results, and I'll wait some time then. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yep. Thank you, Dean. Any other questions from the board? Questions from the community? And questions virtually? Any? Okay, very good. Charles, I was just going to ask you, you mentioned earlier that that there will be a third Saturday market day. And I was just wondering, when does that, when is that going to start? Is that this month, next month?
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry if I misspoke. That starts on April 19th.
April 19th. And what time and location, please?
It's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's going to be at the Value Add Center.
Oh, okay, at the Value Add Center. Okay, thank you. And that's open to the public?
Yeah, it'll be open to the public.
Okay, great, that's
And
terrific.
you can find more information on their website.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And then my other question is the presentation. You're saying that they're going to be doing a presentation. They'll be getting ready to come to do a presentation before us?
Yes, they've communicated that they were in contact. They were planning to go to the April 21st neighborhood board meeting, but from my understanding, that's a recess, right?
Yeah, we're in recess. That's what I was going to tell you. So
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
hold this for May, you know, for the May agenda. And that might be a good time, depending on the presentation, but in May, we usually have a big crowd because we recognize our Lelehu outstanding students. So, and then we sing our alma mater. That's the best part. But, so yeah, so they would get there'll be a lot of people here, but so that would be the May agenda. But please let me know so I can hold that spot because we definitely want an update presentation. So, yeah, we'll be in touch then. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
That's good.
Okay, and thank you. And we're moving on to Representative Peruso.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, hi. So I'll start with most recent events. We had an update from Senator Schatz and Senator Hirono for our majority caucus today, which was very useful and helpful. As most people know, there was a continuing resolution that was passed. And while Senator Hirono opposed it, Senator Schatz supported it and it moved through. We talked a great deal about the implications of the new federal administration for our communities and for our budgeting process. And I also wanted to share that Senator Schatz is planning, because people have been texting me and asking me, he is planning to hold town halls. The dates and locations have not yet been locked down, but I encourage folks to attend so that they can kind of get a fuller sense of what's happening at the federal level. We are, moving through the second half of session, as was mentioned earlier, and I also wanted to mention that tomorrow, House Bill 969, actually, I'm sorry, not tomorrow, House Bill 969, which is our bill that would prohibit the siting of a landfill over an aquifer, has been heard by Water and Land in the Senate, and it only has to go through WAM now. So that's its final step, and then it'll move on to conference committee because the date has been defected. I don't think any major amendments have been made. So that's traveling, as our House Bill 750, which is about the EPR. So that's the extended producer responsibility, and House Bill 751, which is about solid waste diversion. So I know that all of those issues are really critical to the community and our conversations now. And I want to make sure that you folks know that there's still opportunity to be engaged on those issues at the legislature to weigh in. The last thing I'll mention in my report, and then I want to save time for questions, is because I think that they're interesting questions, is that Senate Bill 894 came up. So I really didn't see this bill too much before. It really got filled with content pretty late in the process over on the Senate side. And what that bill does is it expands, and that's relevant to our community. It's about centralized kitchens statewide, but it expands the footprint of the Whitmore Village facility from 30,000 square feet to 45,000 square feet. That's right. So, you know, on the floor, I expressed concerns, and I'm hoping, you know, the thing is that it's meant to serve 60,000 meals per day, and it's meant to feed all of Central Complex area. So the complex area is actually 3 different complexes. So that's Waialua Complex, Lelehua Complex, and Mililani Complex. So that's one complex area. And then the entire complex area, right? So multiple complexes within a complex area on the leeward side, and the entire windward complex area. So it's going to be an even more centralized kind of approach to feeding students. And it's actually ironically going to require upgrades to our kitchen so that we can more effectively heat up meals in our school production kitchens. So, you know, I think that's something that we, as a community, I was surprised to see that. As far as I know, I've been at all the neighborhood board meetings and I've been at all the community meetings, and I haven't seen that discussed with the community. So I'm bringing it to you folks so that we can, like, you know, put this on a list of things to discuss. And then what else is going on? So much, but I'm open for questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Or yeah, go ahead.
Rep. Russo, I know that Senator De La Cruz has talked about the central kitchens several times.
Great.
So
But I know, but I'm saying like the plan that I've seen and what was funded last session was 30,000 square feet, which is roughly the size of Ainahaina's Costco in Whitmore Village. And then now they're expanding it, as I mentioned, from 30,000 square feet to 45,000 square feet. So I think that, you know, we should talk about that. And, you know, I know that the community has traffic concerns. So I just wanted to make sure the neighborhood board's aware of that and that we can have a robust conversation when it's relevant or when it's meaningful. And, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with this legislation, but we might need to like think about if that creates even more congestion, because you're going to have to be bringing a great deal of food in and then taking food out to all these different areas every single day. So I know that community is already frustrated by the traffic from NC Tams, and I've sat in that traffic and it's not pleasant.
Well, thank you, Representative, because that is an update. We were aware of the 30,000. The 60,000 double is news.
Well, it's 60,000 meals, right? So it's 30,000 square feet and then 60,000 meals a day.
Yes, but that's still a bigger number than what was said before.
Yeah, it's a significant increase. So just FYI. Yes, I would like to take questions. Other questions too.
Any other questions? Oh, go ahead, Michelle, and then Joe.
Hi, thank you for. Thank you for the update on that. That is a concern because not only the traffic, but the amount of people, well, traffic by the amount of employees and so forth. So my question is, if this is a bill presented to you folks now, then how quickly does it need to be voted on? And is there time for discussion?
Yeah, so it's moving already. You know, it's moved through the Senate and now it's moving through the House. It's going to be heard tomorrow morning in education. It was already heard by the Agriculture Committee. And then after education, it'll go to finance and then conference committee. Like we're past the halfway mark for session. So, you know, and I think that one of the one aspect of the vision that this measure tries to effectuate is a statewide approach to, if we're going to move away from the kitchens already in our schools, then other islands also want to have those similar kinds of facilities in their districts, right? So that's kind of the conversation that's happening. So, and it also raises other concerns, like other fiscal concerns for us when we're kind of faced with backfilling potential losses of Medicaid coverage and or positions to support Medicaid, and there's a lot of things going on.
Okay, thank you. And
Good evening, Rep. Good to see you. Thank you for coming.
Likewise.
Please. My question rallies around how is the state going to be addressing its concerns regarding the federal disbanding the U.S. Education? And more so, what I'm really afraid of is, you know, right now they say approximately 1/3 of every child that attends an elementary school is the only meal they get at school. And I'm just really so concerned that a lot of more kikis are going to be affected by going hungry. Are there anything in the works that is going to address the situation if that funding stops, or what can you say to it? How can you address that?
Yeah, that's a huge issue for me as well. And a couple things. The first is nothing is certain yet, right? And there's so much chaos and confusion that we can't really budget around things that are in so much flux. So we recognize that. Oh, okay. Something's doubling. The intention, like that has been the expressed intention of this new administration, and I think that we have to look at our budget, our fiscal situation, and see if we're able. And you know, in Wahiawa, so Wahiawa is the area of my district where the impact will be the most intense, because every single one of our schools is a Title I school. So it won't affect every district in the same way, as I mentioned before. And I think that right now we're having some challenges just around like the predictability of what's going to happen. Like how we're going to come back for special session. So we'll be coming back in August. It looks like September and November. At least three times for special sessions once we have a better grasp of what's going to happen at the federal level, because we hear the rhetoric and we've read Project 2025, but we don't know what will happen actually in Congress. So, and we don't know because, you know, there are a lot of red states who are also like highly dependent on Title I and those free and reduced school lunches and breakfast. So it's unclear to me. I'm sorry, I can't give you a more definitive answer, but the situation is really murky right now.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And just that background noise, I'm on O2 now, so sorry.
Okay.
thanks, Dean. Thank you, Representative. Any other questions for Representative? Go ahead.
Hi, Representative Purcell. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
This is Erin. Just a question. So you mentioned you met with Senator Schott and Senator Hirono. So the bigger budget bill coming through the federal government, would that add more clarity on what's going to happen? I mean, when will we start? I mean, we're sort of in this purgatory right now, you know, I mean, and some people have actually lost their jobs. And so it's really real and relevant, but but it's just sort of kind of that calm before the storm or the chaos before the storm. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. So I also wanted to point to something that you alluded to, and Dean is kind of also pointing to the total impact of Title I is much more than free and reduced lunch. So about 25% of the staff, for example, at Lelehu High School are federally funded. So the 75% of the staff, the educators there, and that's educators, that's teachers, will have to do 100% of the work if this kind of cut is effectuated, if it happens. So we're really concerned about 20% of our Department of Education budget is dependent on federal funding. So this is a really important conversation, and you're right, Erin. We're not going to have a really clear idea until we get an actual budget that is proposed and passed by this Congress. And what we have right now is just a continuing resolution. But I think we're going to see actions within that continuing resolution, because this continuing resolution also gave the president more power, more latitude to direct the funds the ways in which he sees fit. So we're going to see some of those changes already start to occur, I think, even before we get a budget.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, go ahead.
I guess I'll ask you too, since I asked the governor. And
Yep.
So do you support resolution or House Resolution 77 and House Resolution 83? And will you call for public hearings on it?
You know, I think that the story you might be alluding to kind of omits additional backstory. 3 of my progressive colleagues and myself in the House submitted a letter to the Salary Commission asking them to tie the legislator's salary to AMI, so the median AMI, and for a single earner. And they actually responded to us, and they did that. So the proposal you're seeing now, I think, is actually already modified from what was meant to be. So I'm thinking about what I want to do with respect to those resolutions when they come to the floor. I wouldn't mind having hearings, because I think that the community deserves to be heard. And we've been hearing, like, I think the one thing that we have been doing this session is having some really difficult conversations. Like, we heard an immunization bill that I was not very fond of, but I think, and I'm glad we heard it, because we got to hear community concerns. We heard just last week, or last week, a midwifery bill that was very controversial, and hundreds of people filled the auditorium to provide testimony. So I think that we know that we can have these conversations. So I think that it would be a good idea to have them about our salaries. So that's that. I'm kind of thinking about how I'm going to navigate that question, and I don't think it's an easy question, because I have a lot of colleagues who are struggling with that kind of income, and I have a lot of colleagues who live in districts whose average area median income is much higher than Wahiawa's. So their community is fine with it. And I don't feel comfortable with it, because, you know, this is a working class community. And that's why we sent that letter to the Salary Commission.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Dean, go ahead.
To Michelle's question, Rep. When was the last officials did get a pay raise? May I ask? Not the amount, just did get a pay raise.
I keep echoing. We just got, like, we hadn't gotten one for a long time, and we had deferred one or turned one down, I think in 2020. So we got that pay raise in 2022. And the problem, I think, that's really important for people to recognize that this is a complicated vote because it's a one vote is effective for everybody who is in the same kind of bracket with the legislators. So the legislators, in their decision making, if they decide to vote down or reject this recommendation, they're affecting all of the salaries for the executive branch, all of the salaries for the judicial branch, and that makes a lot of us feel uncomfortable because we also know that those folks are dramatically underpaid and it's hard to get people to serve because the pay is so low compared to the private sector. So it's a complicated situation. And I wish it was not coming to us, frankly, but it is. So I appreciate the question because I do hope that, you know, in other neighborhood boards, my colleagues are also having this conversation.
Thank you real quick.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Up on that, I agree with what you say. It's very complicated because it does involve so many different groups of people. So is the legislature thinking about passing some law or taking it to the public again about splitting this up so it doesn't happen like that?
We don't have, no bill was introduced to modify the structure of that decision making this session, and we could go back to that next session because it is uncomfortable. But the reason, the positive purpose that kind of linkage serves is that the legislators have to then also take care of the judiciary, which it is a third and equal branch of government. And I will say, sitting now on judiciary, I think that they are horrifically underfunded. And it explains a great deal about our struggles with the justice system. So I don't mind the linkage because it makes us more responsible for them. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's how I've been thinking about it.
Go ahead.
Just a quick comment. You know, everything is in perception and how we see things and how we perceive things. So here we just had a discussion on, with the current administration, programs losing their funding, children not being able to eat, possibly people losing their job. And then now we're talking about people getting raises and getting an exorbitant amount of money, probably which they deserve, but it's in perception and timing.
Yeah.
And is now the time to be talking about stuff like that? And is there ever a good time? But it just doesn't look good when you have a lot of cuts perhaps coming down. People are afraid, they're frightened, they're scared, they're insecure. And, you know, it just seems like we're talking out of both sides of our mouth.
Yeah.
And perception is perception.
Yeah. I hear that, and that's why we wrote that letter. Like, you know, I'll be frank, that was not a letter that made me a lot of friends in the building. And I think that that's precisely the problem. Here I am asking for more revenue generation so that we can, you know, take care of these additional costs that I think are coming, that we are going to have to, as a state, step up to protect some of our most vulnerable community members. And I understand that it's not just perception, it's actual. Like, I don't want people to have lost their Section 8 housing vouchers and here I'm getting a raise, right? So the contradiction is too intense for me.
Okay, and I'm just going to say one comment. It's not just perception, but it's also timing.
Yeah.
Those two factors can impact anything in any, so that's my last word. And I think, Dean, I don't know, did you have another question, Dean? No?
Oh, no, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. Okay, thank you. And then my last, and then we'll move on. I just wanted to, one follow-up question. The 60,000 meals, which is double of what we initially heard, going back to the 60,000 meals.
I don't know. I don't know that the number of meals has changed. I mean, that I didn't check with the original, like the legislation from last session. I just know that there's an increase in square footage and the language that, I mean, my understanding of the Whitmore Village facility was to serve the Whitmore Village, I mean, the Mililani, Lelehua, and Wailua complex area. And maybe some of Leeward. But now that vision is very much expanded. So all of Leeward schools, all of Windward schools, and all of our, you know, Central Oahu complex area schools. So for me, that's just,
Right.
that's not a word, but.
Okay, so I'll just wait for maybe further information because I'm
Yeah.
still confused about that one. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. All right, Representative, thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to board business. This is item 7 on the agenda. Can I get an approval for the acceptance of the regular meeting minutes of
So
February
moved.
24th? 2000, oh, what?
I'll
Oh,
second.
We have a second? Who did the first? Oh, who did the second? Oh, who did the first? Oh, Dean. Oh, I'm sorry. Dean and Joe second. All in favor? Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. The minutes have been accepted for February 24th, 2025. Chair's report and board actions called for disclosure. Any board members attended any meetings or events that we need to be aware of? Seeing none, hearing none, moving on to correspondence and distribution. We read the 2 announcements I received today. The first one was about the Wahiawa Pineapple Festival, which is taking place on Saturday, April 5th. And the other was the 2025 67th Kunia Orchid Show and Plant Sale, which takes place this coming weekend, the 21st, March 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Okay. And committee reports, education, Sylvia, how are we doing?
Good. So I reached out to Jason Nakamoto, principal at Lelehua High School. I think you were CC'd on that. He will communicate the names for the valedictorians as well as the Mighty Mule. And then Rachel, I'll get those names to you and we'll use the same that we did last year.
Okay,
Yeah, so
great.
that's all good.
Okay, thank you. Military, no report from today, although we did have some information coming from the Congresswoman's office. Transportation and OMPO,
No changes from last month.
okay. And water, today I did make a request, if the mayor could have a town hall meeting in Wahiawa regarding the landfill situation. And Hawaiian Affairs, Dean, any reports?
Yes, ma'am. The Church of Latter-day Saints Mililani State Board at the corner of Kamehameha and Mililani Meheula will have an emergency preparedness fair and amateur radio day on March 29th, 2025, starting at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's the only Hawaiian affair we got going on. Thank you.
No, and that's open to the public? Dean, is that open to the public?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that's March 29th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, going into our announcement sections. The board for board members and the public, the Wahiawa Whitmore Village Neighborhood Board number 26 will be on recess for the month of April 2025. We'll resume meetings on Monday, May 19th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the Wahiawa District Park's Halipua Meeting Room. Please check the website for any updates on our meeting schedule. And lastly, our information contacts, City Streets Pothole Hotline. If you have any questions or problems, issues, call 808-768-7777. It's Pothole Hotline, 536-7852. Heart Maintained Roads Pothole Hotline 808-566-2299. Cities Refuge Office 808-768-5220. Schofield Noise Complaints 808-656-3487. And having said that, this meeting is adjourned. Mahalo, everyone.
Well,